Let's take a look at angles. Angles is formed by two rays that meet at the same endpoint. So if I were to take two rays and meet them at an endpoint, it would look something like this. Now this endpoint where the two rays meet is called the vertex. There are other types of angles too. We have smaller angles, we have square angles, we have bigger angles. Now, even though angles are formed by the two rays that meet at an endpoint, we can also find angles on the corners of our polygons. So if we're looking at these polygons here, like this rectangle has 4 angles. That's the part where two sides meet. This triangle has 3 angles. This hexagon has 6 angles. And as you can notice, some of our angles are small and some of them are big. So these are kind of small, these are bigger, and these are kind of like right in the middle, right? And then our last one here, this arrow, this is also a polygon. It has a mixture of some small angles and some big angles. But those are all angles that are formed in our polygon. Next, we're going to go to a geoboard to build some polygons and learn about the types of angles in them. Now, you'll have a chance to use this geoboard also later, where you'll be able to build some things. But let me start by grabbing a rubber band. And what I want to do is I want to build a square out of my rubber band. So you notice I just kind of pick up the rubber band and I put it there. Now, I want to take a look at the angles that are on my rubber band. So in order to look at the angles of my rubber band, I like to use this Post-it note. I call it my Post-it note check. Now the corners of my Post-it note, or the angles, these are called right angles because they're 90 degrees exactly. Sometimes also called a square corner because everyone recognizes that a square has those square corners. So if I take that Post-it note and I put it in the corner of that angle, I can see, oh look, that's a 90-degree angle. Or if I look up at this one, that's a 90-degree angle. And if I look at that one, that's a 90-degree angle. And if I look at this last one, that's a 90-degree angle because it matches exactly with my Post-it note. Now, one of the symbols that we can use is we might draw this little box down here like this. That tells me that it's a right angle. Now let's go take a look at a different shape. So I'm going to clear this rubber band off. Now I'm going to grab a red one, and this time I'm going to make a triangle. Like so. See how what I do is I grab it from the center of the rubber band and I can drag it over to here. There's my triangle. Now what I want to do is I want to take a look at its angles. So let's do that Post-it note check again. We know the corners of our Post-it notes are right angles. But if I put my Post-it note here, you can see that the angle is actually smaller than the Post-it note. Notice that the line cuts through my Post-it note. And if I put it on this corner over here, oh look, it happens again. The line is cutting through the Post-it note. And if I do it up here and I rotate it just a little bit, it's cutting through here. So these angles are less than 90 degrees. We call them acute. Nice way to remember that. Cute, always kind of small and little. Cute little things are nice and cute and small, right? So we call it an acute angle. So this triangle has 3 acute angles. One here, one here, one here. It means that they are less than 90 degrees. Now let's take a look at a polygon that's bigger than 90 degrees. So I'm going to clear off my triangle. And this time, I'm going to build an octagon. So I put my rubber band on. I'm going to move that to there. I'm going to stretch it down. And now I have an octagon, 8 sides. So again, what I can do is I can use my Post-it note and I can check the size of these angles. So if I bring it right down here, I can see that both of these angles down here, this one here and this one here, they're bigger than my Post-it note because my Post-it note cuts through here. Let me check some other angles on here. If I come up here, ooh, I see the same thing is happening. If I take a look here and here, you can see they're bigger than our Post-it note. And if I go up at the top, I see the same thing. If I come over here on the side, I see that same thing. So all of these are greater than 90 degrees. And we call that obtuse. So the octagon has obtuse angles, which means they are greater than 90 degrees. So as a review, an angle is formed by two rays that meet at the same endpoint, but we also know we can find angles in the polygons in those corners. There are 3 types of angles that we talked about. There are more, but these are the 3 that we're going to refer to. The obtuse triangle or obtuse angle is greater than 90 degrees. That is, it's bigger than the corner of the Post-it note. We also have acute angles. They're less than 90 degrees. They're smaller than the corner of the Post-it note. And finally, we have our right angles. We can always figure out the right angles because we see that symbol in there, a little box in there. And that means it's exactly 90 degrees. It is the same as the corner of our Post-it. So let's see if you can figure out what some angles are.